Hello there. All right, so I know I'm a little late to the party on this one, but I'm kind of getting through the backlog of figures that I have, and from my time where everything was getting shipped to Florida, and I was still in Colorado. But I have here the retro vintage wave, the second wave of Mandalorian figures, and I know I'm a little different than everybody else. I know a lot of people like the actual vintage figures. I think they're great, don't get me wrong, but I don't collect those because I've just mainly, I don't want any vintage that wasn't mine as a kid that's in my collection already. Just a little different for me. I don't have any like love or hate for those figures. I honestly think they're great, and I love that people are collecting them and stuff like that. But I kind of like to focus more on the ones that were never made before. Like I do have like the ones like I do have the Tarkin and the Snowspeeder Luke that came with the board games, and also the retro vintage Stormtrooper from the first wave of Mandalorian. It's just to kind of complete those sets, but the first wave. But yeah, I like those because they weren't made before, and they're pretty neat. But like I said, I kind of like the idea of like modern content in a vintage style is just kind of appeals to me, and this wave really did not disappoint for me. We look at the cards, and I'll spend a little bit on the cards, and they basically took a lot of these guys that already have cards, and for the vintage collection, and they put the vintage, and you just use those cards and kind of put the old scuffing or whatever on there. And so I mean, they're nice looking figures, and the cards, they're decent enough. Like I said, this is one of those sets why I do kind of like to have a carded and a loose version of. And this is like just basically the Bo-Katan card from the vintage collection version, which is an absolutely fantastic figure. Same with the armor. We had a while back. Whoops. The Boba Fett Morak, which, I'll have to check. Yeah, I think it's the same card that they used for him. That's another absolutely fantastic figure is the modern version of that, which I will do. I'm going to do like a Boba Fett comparison video. I'm looking at those figures, and I'm really enjoying those. And of course, the Death Trooper here. And I know why they did this one, but boy, I like the figure. Don't get me wrong. I really do like the guy. He's going to look nice next to my loose Moff Gideon vintage one, but God, it would have been great if we got a Death Trooper, a Dark Trooper like that. But oh well, maybe Wave 3. But let's start with what many people believe to be the titular character, Din Djarin here. And I like it. Like you think about like the original retro vintage ones where he's got the vinyl cape. I like how they kind of upgraded him to a cloth cape, kind of like if going from like a version from like the original like 1978 figures or whatever, and then they kind of move fast forward to something like that came out like in the Return of the Jedi line or later, and so we get the like. Good Lord, I can't hold on to anything today, but sorry about that. But he's he's got the nice coloring on him. Nice. He's got his Rising Phoenix, and he just will not hold his blasters for me right now. That's just ridiculous. My only complaint is I wish he had a holster, and I'll show you that. That's one thing I like about the Boba Fett, which we'll look at in a minute. But I do like the cloth cape on him, and the definitely got a nice look for him. Especially in the retro and the vintage style. So yeah, he's a nice figure. It's got a nice detail, but not too much. Not like hyper accurate like you can get with the modern version. And I'm cool with that. You know, I think they do kind of have to, you know, make them look more retro. And this one is definitely a standout for me, even though he has no soft goods. But it's the Boba Fett. I mean, I do really like the look. And I have to pull out my vintage Boba Fett and compare the two. But you know, it's got the baggy pants, and just really the yellow really pops on him. Man, that really looks good. And like I said, yeah, he's got two weapons, but I like the fact he's got a little holster for that. So, and okay, now as far as weapons, I'm gonna say, how awesome would it have been if this was what the weapon that we got with Boba Fett that from mail away from back in late 78, 1979 when the mail away for that guy came out, man. That would have been awesome. I mean, because originally he came with a basically it looks like a stormtrooper, one of the stormtrooper blasters, the 11, which is fine. I mean, I used there was another mail away set. It was like different like accessories and stuff, and I use a different weapon for him. It's like a longer rifle with a sling. I just kind of thought it looked better for him on that. But you know, but definitely got that if he had that weapon, that would have been awesome. But you know, at the same time, I don't think they understood what they were. You know, they probably hadn't even seen it. But so the Bo-Katan is really nice. It comes with her blasters, which she holds them quite well. Again, functional holsters, like a little loop to put those in would have been nice, but you know, not needed. It's not a deal breaker. And the blues with the grays look very nice. You know, so it's a nice mix. And I like how they did her helmet. That helmet looks really good. And with the little rangefinder, I kind of like how, well, on the original Boba Fett, it's like forward, but they did a similar thing with Boba Fett. This version of Boba Fett. The helmet there. Another standout for this is the Armorer. Man, I wish I had this figure at Comic-Con and I could have had the actress sign it. She was really very pleasant to meet. And but yeah, that's a nice look of her helmet. And I like this. This is like a little kind of nod to the vintage Clay 2 where you had the collar skirt piece there. And they put it over, you know, her like shoulder wrap thing there. But yeah, the hammer and the vice grips look really cool. And just, yeah, the colors again. I mean, they really do look good on this, if I can keep it in focus. But yeah, it just really did a good job with that one. And ironically, the Army Builder is the one that's kind of the most boring, but I'm okay with it. He's he's got a nice little stormtrooper look. You know, the head doesn't turn, so he's actually 4 POA. And but he's got I like the rifle that comes with him, and he's a nice look there. Again, I mean, I like Death Troopers. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I really like the Army Builder pack and in the vintage collection that we got. My only gripe there, I said, was I wish they all came with this rifle and not everybody gets the pistol, only 2 get this rifle. But other than that, not a deal breaker for me. That was just my only gripe about it. But he's a cool, like I said, he's going to look good next to Moff Gideon. And then the last one, and that's, is the Ahsoka, and I like it. I mean, it's a nice figure. Again, good coloring. The likeness is good. This one's actually, I just noticed it's cracked right here. That's kind of weird. Maybe I'll have to find another one. But it's not like I'm going to move it around too much. These don't really get posed much differently than what they have here. And it comes with the lightsabers, kind of a more like Empire Strikes Back or their Jedi, so it's not the ones that were in the arm, which really wouldn't work with the way they did her arm. And I'm cool with that. I think that was definitely, with the vintage, it was a nice upgrade to the figures, was to give them actual lightsabers to hold and take out. So when I do my look at the Kenobi figures, I'll look at that, because like that Vader is really cool. But yeah, I mean, it's nice figures. I really like them. I'm definitely trying to figure out where I'm gonna set these guys up in this room, along with everything else. But yeah, it's a nice set, and definitely worth getting if you can still find them. I think you can. I think I did see a couple, like, check a GameStop. They tend to have them. I think I saw like the Din Djarin and the Boba Fett. I think I saw all of them at some point. So maybe I'll swing by a GameStop around here and see if I can pick up another Ahsoka, just so I don't have the broken one displayed. But if not, I am not gonna lose any sleep over that. Like I said, it's basically she's gonna be in that pose forever. And but that should do it for this one. I really like it. So that should be enough for this one. Thanks so much for watching. I'm going to try to put out more content more regularly now that I'm getting in the groove of things here. If you made it this far, please leave a like. If you are already one of my subscribers, thank you so much. I always greatly appreciate it. If you're not a subscriber, please consider hitting the subscribe button. I would love to grow the channel. Like I've always said, is like if one person likes my video and gets something out of it, I'm happy. But again, I would also like to grow the channel and get a little more reach, maybe help more people, help other collectors. That's what it's all about. And leave a comment below. What do you guys think? Are you like me? Do you only get these like for the the newer content, or do you just want the the actual retro vintage figures, like from the original vintage line? You get them both, or you not like them at all? That's fine. I mean, like I said, we all collect differently. This is just the way I do it, and but would love to hear from you. So, but that should do it for this one. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, this is the way.
Remember, the Force will be with you always. The Force will be with you.